welcome to another edition of the Get With It podcast. Today I have returning visitor, Kristina Rapinson. My heart. Kristina and I are going to battle through this first time COVID Zoom podcast call. I guess it's the new normal, right?
You're right. It is the new normal.
Oh,
I'm on Zoom every single day.
Man, you're on Zoom every single day?
Every single day.
For
On
how
video.
long?
For how long?
Yeah,
how long have you been doing it, or how long are the days?
No, how long are your days?
My days are usually 8:30 to 5:30-ish, and they're pretty nonstop. I have to force myself to take a break. So after probably the first 3 or 4 weeks working from home, I put a block on my calendar to walk my dog. Literally walk Nova from 12 to 12:30 so that I can get up and move around a little bit, see a little bit of the outdoors, and hopefully get some sun. So those are some of the things that have helped me. Otherwise, I will literally sit and be consumed by my computer all day.
Oh my God. So, okay, when this all started, go back. How did this, because we're talking Cardinal Health here.
Yes.
So we're talking not Joe Schmo Corporation. We're talking
Right. And it's been interesting because of the breadth of what Cardinal Health does. Hang on a second. I'm sorry. I'm putting my do not disturb on so you don't hear beeps and stuff like that. So there we go. I should have done that before.
Yeah,
so
that's all right.
we have, so Cardinal Health, because of the breadth of what we do as an organization, we have essential workers who are on the front lines from the standpoint of they're in distribution centers and manufacturing sites, and they have to go into the office to keep the product moving. So we've got that community of employees, and then we've got our more the office workers, so folks that can more realistically work from home. And so as we were preparing, we got in front of this by about a week or two before the work from home started, because we saw the tide the way it was moving.
Right.
And, so we were able to do some early testing to basically look at our network and our infrastructure and confirm that we could support a much larger number of people being connected remotely and being on our VPN for maximizing security. And so we were able to make some tweaks to not only confirm that we had that, and also to optimize how the traffic was going to flow so we wouldn't impact people's performance. So that was all good. We did testing, like I said, about a week. We had an EIT work from home day to test what we were experiencing, and that enabled us to make a few more tweaks, which was wonderful. Then the other thing that we were doing is working across the businesses and the other corporate functions to say, where do you have folks that could work from home if they had if they had a device that allowed it? So if they had a laptop or not. So we were then gathering all that information and essentially spinning up virtual workspaces for folks or deploying laptops to make sure that anybody that could work from home from the standpoint of their job responsibility had the tools that they needed to work from home. So that was a really intense few weeks getting all of that in place. And then, quite frankly, supporting folks as they were getting used to these different tools that now they had to start using. My team supports a lot of those capabilities. So we've been incredibly busy since the first week of March.
Oh my gosh.
And as you can imagine, we were already busy with all of the things on our plan for the fiscal year to deliver. So pile that on top, it's been pretty intense. I will say it's also been very rewarding knowing that we were able to provide what's needed to support the business and the critical work that we do and to support our community and our customers. So it's been exhilarating from that perspective. It's been intense. I've never worked so closely with a bunch of different of my peers that support, and are responsible for different elements of our infrastructure. It's been great. It really, truly, it was all hands on deck, getting lost in the team, and people just did what it took to make this happen and make it work. So I can't really complain from that perspective. It's been a great experience, and since it's also been really nice to see people to get more familiar with the tools that we have. So with our conferencing solutions, with our chat, and we use Microsoft Teams for collaboration, so OneDrive and OneNote, and creating Teams spaces so people can share and create boards for managing task lists and things like that. We've had a lot of just organic growth in adopting these tools. So it also really helped some of our mission, which was really to drive our adoption of those tools as we think of modernizing our workplace and enabling people to work anytime, anywhere. With any kind of device. So that's been helpful for my team as well. So it's been quite a ride.
So you're still at home.
Yes.
And then do they have like a transition plan?
We are starting to plan that out. So, and it's going to be gradual. Our leadership has done an amazing job of being thoughtful and really listening to what our employees are comfortable with and what their concerns are. So that is all still in progress, and more is going to come, I would say, over the summer as we figure those things out. But I've been very, very pleased with what we've seen from leadership in allowing us to, again, really do the right thing by the employees and make sure folks have what they need. Because whether you're in a high risk group for risk of getting the virus, or you have childcare challenges, or you're caring for an aging parent or a sick family member, there's so many different things that could be affecting what people do,
Right.
and kind of what their risk tolerance is. And so it's I'm quite grateful for the flexibility that leadership has offered.
Yeah, Google is now looking, I think it's Google now looking at, well, I have a beef with Google. My Google's been technically jacked up, so maybe somebody's not doing what they're supposed to be doing at home, but they're looking at taking that overhead cost of offices and satellite offices and just being like, nope, work from home.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to get there. I think as a company and as a culture, our CEO really values the innovation and the creativity and the collaboration that you get being together physically. So at this point, I mean, there's been no indication that we will move to a full-time work from home population. From an office staff perspective, and I know other local companies have come out with announcements about their intentions to decrease their footprint. So certainly, in light of those things happening, that question always comes up. So I'm sure that as with anything, they continually evaluate what makes sense, and at this time, they haven't given any indication that we'll work from home permanently.
Okay. So just to remind everybody, you have like a ton of people that work under you. So your department.
Team. Yeah. So I have about 250 people. and we're spread around the country. So I've got a group here in Dublin, Ohio, that that supports multiple different things, from our service center, our IT service center, to our regional. We have regional client services teams as well, which are essentially the front lines for our facilities around the country for IT support. And also our client systems engineering. So we manage the images on devices and deployments and things of that nature. We also own collaboration, so Teams and video conferencing and different capabilities in that regard. And then also our meeting technology. So we use Zoom for a large conference room. So, large conferences. So like our town halls with our CEO, for example. So, or larger meetings that are like sales meetings and things like that. We do a lot of the support behind the scenes for technically managing those things. And then we also own our conference room technology. So physically in our buildings, how that's all set up and functioning. That's a pretty broad scope of work, and so there's always something going on in that space. And as I mentioned before, we've got this modern workplace initiative to make sure that we are, an employer with the right offerings, so that we're attracting the best new talent, and we're also retaining our talent. And again, it's a lot of it's about giving people options for how they work and enabling them to be productive, minimize their downtime with technology issues, and really maximize their ability to collaborate globally. So that's kind of the breadth of my team, and then, like I said, the functions that we have. So a lot of the folks are remote and spread across the country. So, that's an interesting dynamic, is having that combined footprint of some local and then some that are spread out geographically. So staying connected is a challenge, and I think staying connected is tripled in importance since we've been in this work from home capacity, right? Because
yes,
you have so many people that, like I said before, they have different life experiences, and some folks are feeling very isolated right now. If they, if they live alone, or even if they're, they don't live alone, but they've so much that they're juggling, that can still feel isolating, right? You don't get a break. So,
right.
So we've been hypersensitive about trying to stay in touch with people and how they're feeling. So I've been doing, like my boss has been doing regular all team check-ins. And then I've been doing them as well with my organization, and it's 30 minutes every 2 or 3 weeks, just to touch base. And now that with the video, we can see each other, which is nice as well. So trying to stay connected with a large organization like that, it's really challenging. I will say the one thing that's interesting about working from home is it does create a level playing field. So folks that have always been remote and always maybe kind of felt a little bit like they were different because they couldn't be in a room and they couldn't necessarily see very well the nonverbals. Now everybody has the same opportunity to see that. And so I think that's been an interesting dynamic shift for folks. So we've already even talked about the fact that once we do go back into the office, there's some really good things that we put in place that we don't want to lose. Like, we want to keep doing these to stay better connected, and for people to see our leaders. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about like my boss, who's an SVP, and the CIO and the CEO. A lot of folks don't really have much opportunity to interact. Some of them probably don't even know what they look like. If you think about it, when you're not in Dublin, or even if you are in Dublin. So I really think there's been a increase in connectedness because of these things we've been doing. Our CEO does a podcast every Friday. and he's been doing it for weeks and weeks since we've had this work from home start, and it's been really, really well received. And not just him, and multiple of our other senior leaders have been doing it, and I really appreciate again that they're focused with so many things that they've got on their plates, taking the time to be visible and to share information and to really kind of help people keep their spirits up.
Yeah, they're definitely your employees have to feel appreciated, because a lot of people, I mean, a lot of companies probably don't have that communication or that connectiveness that you guys are grabbing a hold of. So, do you have any of your team in India?
I do not have team members in India. We do have team members in different parts of our organization that are in India. I do have some team members in Manila. So
Oh,
part of
okay.
our service center workforce is based in Manila, and honestly that's been interesting too when you think about how different countries have experienced the virus and what their different restrictions have been. So we've stayed very tightly aligned with the leaders in each different country and understanding that where people can be in the office, or making sure that the infrastructure is set up so that they can effectively work from home, and giving them again the tools that they need to be safe and to still be able to be productive. And then we also have partners that are in India as well, or different parts of the world. So it's definitely been a very high touch, lots of communication to make sure that globally we are safe, and that we are doing the right things to help people get done what they need to get done.
Okay, so I learned quickly that I suck as a second grade teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
my daughter, who, we're now in high school, but eighth grade, I didn't really have to, just a little check in here and there kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you have one that's in the elementary school. Did you get help?
My husband and I were the teachers. So
Mm-hmm.
Annabelle's in third grade. She just finished third grade, and that was nearly the death of me. That was
Thank
really,
God I'm
really,
not the only one.
it was so hard, and part of it was difficult because the technology was new
Mm-hmm.
for them, right? When it was new for me too. They used Google Classroom, and I would say overall
Mm-hmm.
it worked very effectively.
That's what we used.
And but everybody's doing new things, so the teachers were figuring out how to do their curriculum, and they did videos, and they used like different like Google Sheets or slides or different things to enable us to provide the content, like to submit assignments. And so I've been in IT almost my whole career. So I play around with stuff. Like it doesn't, I'm not intimidated if something doesn't work right away. Well, my husband and daughter don't have quite the same. So there was very high frustration very quickly if things didn't work quite right. And I struggled honestly to stay in front of that. So the smart thing for me to do would have been to like look at everything the night before and make sure I knew exactly how things were functioning, so I could ease their minds going into the next day. Well, I also had work, and heaven forbid I get to relax, or I'm washing the dishes or whatever it might be, right? There's always something going on. So invariably that didn't happen on most days, and it was really, really frustrating. So because I'm typically in meetings during the day, so and I stay in my office. This is my office, so I pretty much stay in here when I'm working, which helps me to focus. I can hear everything going on in the house, though, so I can keep the meltdown when it's occurring, whether it's my husband or my daughter. And so then I'm either having to ignore it, or I'm having to interrupt what I'm doing and try to swoop in. And that level of juggling was damn near impossible. And we even split up subjects. So Ryan would take certain subjects to help her with, and I would take others. And again, if I'm in meetings all day, I'm not helping her until 5 or 6 o'clock, which
Right.
nobody wants to do that, to work at that point. Oh, hello. Speak of the devil.
No, the steps in the basement where you can get up.
Yeah.
There's a cardinal.
Oh.
And they were in the thing.
Oh my gosh, how cute. Outside?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, in the windowsill?
Yeah. Yeah, we have like window wells because it's like it's like underground. So there's windows and then there's the window wells that and we have stairs that lead up from that. So that's
maybe they're gonna build a nest.
Oh, well, funny side, my mom loved cardinals. So whenever we see cardinals, it's like, oh, there's mom or there's Grammy. That's Annabelle. That always makes me happy when I know cardinals are around.
They're a sign of good luck too, aren't they? A sign of
so. Like it's to remember. It's like they're angels. Like they're your loved ones.
Yeah.
So that was the lovely child, and so we just really struggled with that balance, and and because Ryan's trying to get stuff done around the house and take care of the yard and whatever else, and so we just really didn't. Some days were fine, and other days were a complete train wreck.
My house too.
Like that's the best I could tell you. It was sometimes it was hour by hour. So I was very glad when the school year got done.
So, what happens if it doesn't go back? What happens if she doesn't go back?
I'm going to be very sad. I am at this point, I'm thinking positive thoughts and praying that we at least are back part-time.
Yes.
And I think I can handle. I think because for me, it's not just about how difficult it was to try to homeschool her. And I'm not trying to take away anything from the teachers, because I think they did the best that they could for the circumstances, and they were providing so much of that content. It was just very difficult. Obviously they couldn't teach the kids in the same way they would have in the classroom setting. It kind of necessitated parents to be more involved. If we wanted them to do well, which obviously, we wanted her to be ready for fourth grade.
Right.
So, but the other element to it for me is the socialization. So Annabelle's an only child. She gets no interaction with friends right now. So, and I kind of feel she's regressing a little bit because, she after, when she would do her schoolwork, then she'd want her screen time, or she's reading a book. Like, she doesn't necessarily want to go out and do anything. So I just think that's unhealthy. And so to me, that's the other really important aspect of getting back into the school setting is being a kid, like interacting with her friends and playing on the playground and, just that kind of stuff. Like, and she'll all the kids will suffer, especially onlys. But I mean, I think even when you have multiple children, they don't always want to be their only playmate. Like they want to.
Mine don't get along, so.
I mean, it's probably even that's kind of a whole nother kind of difficult. So I feel like for a lot of reasons, it's important to get back at least part-time. So I am, and that's what the feedback I shared because we, surveys were.
We got a survey.
Yeah. So I don't know if I mentioned this, my daughter goes to a Catholic school. So they're doing a lot of planning. They're following like the Catholic diocese guidelines and all of that. And obviously waiting for the governor's guidelines to come out. So we're all kind of on pins and needles at this point.
Yeah, definitely. My youngest Christopher definitely needs that interaction with friends. And we found out this year that he's extremely ADHD. So he's like really bad. And so that's tough because you're like, do I medicate him while he's home? Because we don't medicate him on the weekends, but yet we were doing school Monday through Friday, and I'm like, do I do this? So,
Yeah, too hard.
yes, it's very, very difficult. So I know your pain, and I have a husband who too would get frustrated easily if something didn't work, or he'd be like, I can't do this. Figure this out. So,
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
The one small shining light is I did reach out to one of Annabelle's good friends and talked to her mom, and she was comfortable with starting to do play dates. So now we're kind of in a routine of weekly play dates,
Oh,
which
that's
helps
good.
a ton. But you just don't know right now what people are comfortable doing. So
Right.
like her birthday is next week, and I said, well, I'm not going to try to do a party because one, I don't know if people will be comfortable, and two, any place we would go, you probably have you have all the social distancing restrictions, and again, I'm not going to ask a kid to wear a mask. I feel like it's just unnatural. Like I just don't think it makes sense, and
I'm
it's
right there with you.
and she even said to me, I don't want a party if we have to be social distanced and wear masks. I'm like, okay, well it's it's your right. It's your part. It's your birthday, so we do what you want to do. But her little girlfriend is going to come over on Sunday we're still celebrate. Her birthday's actually on Monday, so we're trying to do the best of it. I mean, the best we can.
Right. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
Sucks. Yes. So all right. You're good to say halftime. I told the school district, I said, I will be dropping both my children off full time. You deal with them. Christopher has a tutor that comes 3 days a week. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, I mentally cannot, because
Yeah.
I'd get frustrated, and then I'd feel bad because I'd be like, it's not his fault. It's, that I'm trying to do too many things at once. So definitely
Yeah.
feel your pain. So, well, hopefully they'll go back to
I
school.
hope. Yeah, I definitely
Definitely
hope. Yes.
for the socialization. So now you,
Yes. Me.
yeah, you block a half an hour off every day to go walk your dog, and that's it.
I do. I do. Sad but true. Uh, hmm. Right now, I would kind of say, yeah, that's about it. My husband and I still we have a date night
Oh,
once a week.
okay.
And then we've been doing that for quite a while actually. And so once things obviously started to open up a little bit more, we were able to kind of reinstate that, and our babies, the babysitter we used to do that was comfortable coming back over. So we've been able to get back in this routine of that. Actually, tonight's our date night. So that's helpful, just to get out and start to see people being normal again, or
Yeah.
feel a little bit of normalcy in this crazy world right now. Obviously being safe though. Respect the distancing guidelines that we need to have. Now that gyms are back open, I can go back to my Saturday morning gym routine, which is very important to me for my mental health. The one thing I'm missing is I normally take a spinning class on Tuesdays, but I did that through our company gym, which obviously has been closed. So that's one little thing that I haven't been able to figure out how to compensate for that. So because those are the things that kind of helped me just be grounded. Trying to do things with Annabelle, like we did some baking, and now that the weather's getting nicer, I try to block my calendar Friday afternoons to take the afternoon off. And we went to the zoo last Friday, which was lovely to get back out and see the zoo.
Oh, you had to buy your tickets online, right?
We had to reserve tickets. We have a membership, but you still have to go and kind of reserve your spot. And it was fine. I mean, it worked, and it was just nice to be out, quite honestly, and walk around and see people out and about. And it was pretty hot, so the animals weren't super active, but that's okay. So things like that, like those are I like to do. And actually, this is kind of funny. We really like the show Last Man Standing, and it's on rerun like all the time. You can kind of find it. So we've gotten in the habit of, and this is Annabelle and I, watching it for like 1 or 2 episodes a night. And that show is so damn funny. I absolutely never watched it. It's such a good show. I love Tim Allen. He's so funny. It's some of the humor is not quite appropriate, but like kind of goes over her head, which is good.
Right.
But it's a good show. So anyway, so that's kind of one of our little like mommy and Annabelle things that we do. And then the other kind of thing that kept me sane was The Masked Singer. Have you watched The Masked Singer?
Oh my God, the bumblebee and yeah.
I love that show. we watch that show faithfully. So that was the other thing that made my day when that was on. And so those are things we like to do together, which is fun. But yeah, I mean, there's just not a lot right now. I mean, quite frankly, well, because I can't even go to, like, churches aren't even open. So that was the other thing that kind of has always kept me really grounded. Luckily, our church was live streams masses.
Oh,
so we've
okay.
been have some, kind of some faith-based, connection. But it's not the same. Like for me, I'm Catholic. I'm used to, can't receive communion, and so it's kind of like, wah, wah. But they're opening up this weekend, so that's super exciting. So
that's good.
Yeah, we can start going back. But those are the things that I try to do for me, but kind of, falls by the wayside a lot. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty common.
You're busy all the time.
Yeah.
So during all of this, has Cardinal Health continued like finding talent, hiring talent, or has it just been like, did you have to lay people off? Because that was like
Yeah,
a big thing.
Yeah, a lot of companies have been affected by that. I know it's really just so sad to see just the effects on the economy. Cardinal has not, and at this point, I don't believe there's plans. Like, we've not heard of any plans around it within my team. Like, I'll say from my team's perspective, we've been busier probably than we have been in a really long time. So that from that perspective, we haven't seen an impact or a slowdown. Certain businesses were affected differently, more than others. When you think about elective procedures and when those were halted, that certainly affected some elements of our business. Other elements of our business were busier because, like, from a distribution perspective, what we were servicing there was higher demand. So it was really kind of a mixed bag. And across the leadership team, that's another thing they've done an amazing job on, is really looking at the financials across the whole company and helping to ensure we didn't have to make any of those tough decisions.
That's great. Yeah, a lot of people fell to the unemployment or got furloughed. My husband he works for Delta, it's Republic Airways, and he has a bad heart, and they strongly encouraged he take furlough because of the liability. So,
wow.
Yeah. So he's driving me nuts because he's home all the time now.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine. And you had some impact to yourself as well.
I did. I got laid off. Retail really went down the tubes, and so yeah. So just waiting for things to kind of turn around.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's so hard to see everything that's happening, and you think about all the things in your life that you do and how you interact with people, and you're like, oh my gosh, like that person's affected and that person's affected. Like restaurants we go to a lot, right? It's like, oh my gosh, like those people that we see, and they, the servers and the hostesses and all of that. I feel so badly for everybody that's suffering. And like my sister, who lives in Rochester, New York, my hometown, she had a partial furlough with her company. But the stimulus, which gave the extra, I think $600 a week
Mm-hmm.
for employment, helps a ton, right? Obviously. I mean, and her husband works with the school system. So he's been furloughed as well.
Yeah.
So, so she's kind of on pins and needles kind of through the end of what happens after the end of July, because that apparently runs out. And then she doesn't know what's going to be the situation with furlough, so it's business, right? It's like their demand is down, their customers aren't buying. So that's naturally what the companies, everyone's having to make those tough decisions on what they do to save money. So, and we all know it's going to take a long time for this to bounce back. And that's assuming that you don't have another recurrence and, another surge that requires us to kind of shut back down again.
I hope not.
I hope not too. I mean, there's just so many unknowns right now. It's really frightening it's one of those things that I can't really think about because it's so frightening. And you just have to take it a day at a time, step by step, and you roll with it. And you seem, I mean, you are a very adaptable person. So, I know that about you. So it's like the people that can adapt are the people that are going to be successful on the other side of this, and with kind of the least battle scars.
Yes, it's definitely, when I was working at L Brands and this all hit, people who were not comfortable with like change, you could really tell they were not okay with what was happening of working at home and having to rely on technology to do Zoom calls. And you could just see they were not panic stricken, but they were panic stricken because it was unfamiliar. And I'm like,
people don't do well with unfamiliar.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things where sometimes you want to like just say, get perspective. Like this too shall pass. Like this is like I do have to remind myself sometimes, like if this is the worst thing that happens in my day, I'll be okay.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I have to figure out how to do something a little bit differently. It's okay.
Yes. So yes, I do. I know there's a lot of people that are, and then there's me. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I've been to the bars already. I've been out and about. I went to Cleveland on Monday. So yes. So
is it okay?
Cleveland, we went to a winery. I took the Get With It chapter out for some dinner and drinks, and I'm not a mask wearer. I'm not comfortable wearing one. So to each is their own, I believe. And one of the girls was like, "You don't have a mask," and I was like, "No. If it's my time to get corona and go to the heavens, then so be it." So, but a lot of them carry them. They have them up there. And I was up in Michigan last week, and certain areas you would have thought just same old, same old. People have no awareness that there's anything, no masks, no signage or anything like that. And then you go into bigger places, bigger cities, and it's blasted every which way. So
interesting.
So it's funny how when it goes, like my mom lives on a lake up in the northern part of Michigan, and it's small. I mean, it's like in a small little town, and they just living life. So it is. It's weird how it's affected some areas and not others. But you're overseas, like, well, I know in India they had like serious restrictions of going out and about.
They did in Manila as well. I mean, it was no joke. So, um, like to the point where, one person was allowed out of the house at a time, and you had to like have this pass that you carried with you,
Oh,
be arrested. Like, so they were definitely taking a really strong line on it. And again, every government is going to handle it the way they think best, but they're trying to do the right things to be safe. It was super restrictive though.
wow.
Very much so.
Yeah, I know my team in India, that's how it was for them too. Like
Mhm.
you only could go out certain hours and only one person and yeah.
Mhm.
So yes. And then murder hornets come out of nowhere.
I know. I'm joking. It's like the next plague. It's like, what is going on? And then I heard today that there's some we're getting sands from the Sahara Desert or
Oh yeah, we're getting a sandstorm.
something. Right. I was like, somebody said that to me this morning. I said, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I heard it on the news. We're getting some sandstorm. I was like, really?
I know. You can make the stuff up. It's just that's why I say you kind of just have to roll with it. And I'm very similar to you. I feel very uncomfortable with the mask on. I got my hair done, and I had to go in, and I had to wear, had to mask, that was required. So I'm like, well, I need to get my hair done, so I'm gonna deal with this and suck it up for the time. And so that was fine. But generally speaking, I don't wear them. I certainly don't wear it outside, because it's like the least natural thing. Like, you need to
Right.
be here. Um, and I rarely go to stores, because I'm like you, like I'm not comfortable doing it. I understand other people have a higher, I should say, have a lower risk tolerance than I do. So my preference is just to stay out of the situation, not make anybody uncomfortable, and not make myself uncomfortable. So I'm very much online shopping, and my husband does grocery shopping. So that's one thing off my plate. And that's just kind of how it's been for us. Like, we take the dog walks in the neighborhood, or we take her to the park on the weekend sometimes. We have been starting to go to the pool. We belong to a golf club, so they have a pool, which is nice. So that's where we've kind of been hunkering down when we do go out and about. Mostly though, it's kind of stay put. So
I know. It's no fun.
no, it's really not. And it's weird because, like, we last weekend, my daughter and I went to visit my family up in Rochester, and just to get away. Like, my nephew and his wife are having their first baby, which I feel so
Oh,
bad for them. I mean, it's beautiful, but like, just such a bad time.
right.
So, her shower was supposed to be that weekend, and so I had already blocked the time off, and I said, well, it's something different. Let's just go anyway. So we took our dog, so it was a girl trip. And it was just really weird, because my nephew's dad, and my sister-in-law were much more conservative about it. Now, she takes care of her almost 90-year-old mother, so
Oh,
I get it, right? I mean, she's really,
right.
without any additional exposure she's given her, and so I totally respect that, totally get it. And so we went over. I normally stay with them when we go visit, but we couldn't, because, like, they didn't want anybody in the house, and so we were luckily able to go over and hang out in their backyard, because the weather was nice. So what we did was, like, you can't hug, you're trying to
Yeah.
kind of keep distance. Like, we can't, eat, no meals together. It's just weird. It's like, this is
Hmm.
takes the fun out of everything. Now, and then the other side of me says, but you're alive, you're not sick, so, just, Chris, like, calm yourself down, keep it in check. You know what I mean? So it's like, I have all these kind of thoughts going on in my head, because certainly a lot of people have suffered from this disease. So I'm not trying to belittle it at all. Then you think about, think how many people die from the flu each year. I mean,
Exactly.
a lot.
A
So
lot.
I know that this disease is unpredictable and we don't know as much about it. I also know that a lot more people die from other things.
Yes.
So I don't know what else to say about that other than there's a lot
And
of
that's
bad stuff.
why I think like why I'm struggling with it, because people, they get the flu and then, they get bronchitis or they die from a different part of it. Um, and I'd be curious to see how people, with the death rate of this, how it comes out. Did they die from the respiratory virus, or was there a complication to, having a heart attack or cancer or something of that nature? So,
Right.
um,
It just seems like it takes so much more time to dissect all of that and really understand it. And I, again, I'm grateful for the medical professionals who are busting their butts to get a vaccine um, and I feel like that's the right thing. Help us get back to a place where we can be more comfortable and living a little bit more normally. I mean,
yeah.
because healthcare professionals that are dealing with this day in and day out are, truly angels on this earth. I don't know. I don't know how they do it. It's got to be so grueling.
I have my sister-in-law is a pediatric RN, and she was put on a COVID floor, and it was very. I mean, yeah, but then she retired. She decided, well, I'm going to retire at the end of April, and um, so yeah, it was a different change for their whole house because they have two seniors and a sophomore, or well, he's a freshman, he'll be a sophomore, and then the twins graduated. So, and my brother is a cop. So it was very much like, we can't be by each other. I have to go in this door and stay in this room. They were cut off from each. It's just, yeah, it's lonely.
It is. Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I've been doing we FaceTime with my sister once every Saturday or Sunday to stay connected. And she's the one that we stayed with when we went to visit, and they actually came down here over Mother's Day weekend as well. Just because, again, like everything, you feel so isolated, and
Right.
we've been spending Mother's Day together since my mom passed, so we really didn't want to miss that. And they self-quarantine in Rochester when they're home, with just her and her husband, and they have a dog. And so like we're self-quarantining here. Well, you have to stop once for gas on the way. Your exposure is pretty minimal. Just get your ass down here.
Right.
Self-quarantine together.
Yes.
So yeah. So just trying to do that kind of stuff to keep some semblance of normalcy.
Yes, definitely. So, well, I know you're a busy lady, and it's almost noon, so it's almost time to walk the dog. So, well, thank you for coming back on. And we always love having you on. And I don't know if you've heard yet, but the Get With It conference this year is going virtual.
I saw that. Yes.
Yes, I have had to do a lot of research on a platform to make it an awesome experience, and I hope we've come up with one. Okay. We're going to see how it goes. I think a lot of people are done with just Zooming and listening to somebody talk and have a PowerPoint. So we tried to take the experience up a notch. You have like an avatar, and you walk into the conference, and you can have one-on-one time with sponsors and other attendees. It's very interactive. So, knock on wood, I can figure out how to, somebody's building the platform. I just got to figure out how to make it go. So,
well, if you need help, let me know. I'd be happy to try to help with that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'll let you know.
If you're looking for speakers, let me know that as well.
Okay, yeah. I'll send you. I don't know if they've done the speaker thing yet. I'll have to ask. So,
Okay.
but definitely. All right. Well, go enjoy your walk. It's beautiful out today.
Yes, it is. It looks lovely.
So, and thank you again.
Thank you. Great to
And
see you.
Yes, when this is all lifted up, let's go to the bar.
Yes, I would love to do that.
All right. Take care.
You too. Thanks. Bye.